Well, good afternoon, good morning, and in case I don't see you, good night. I am Pastor Rhonda with Celebrate Life Cancer Ministry, and we are interviewing 31 breast cancer survivors throughout the month of October 2020. And today we have with us Miss Barbara from Puerto Rico. Hey, Miss Barbara, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine. Thank you for having me in your program.
Not a problem. Um, so why don't you just go ahead and tell us about your story?
Well, thank you. I'm a two-time breast cancer survivor. My first diagnosis was in December 2003. I was married and still am, with two boys at the time. They were 10 and 14. And I had, since I was 35 years, different mammograms because of fibrocystic breasts. I had different lumps and all those things. But I had a mammogram in April of that year and it was negative. But in October, I started feeling a lump. So I went back to with an order to do a mammogram, and this time it came out was a suspicious mass. After biopsies and all that, it came out to be breast cancer stage 2B. So I talked to the doctors and see what was the best option. In that time, it was having a lumpectomy, so they removed the tumor and left the breast, and then I had 6 months of chemotherapy, once every 3 months. I mean, every few weeks. I'm sorry. And then after I finished that, did 34 sessions of radiation therapy. And then after that, I had like a year and a half of tamoxifen of estrogen blocker because the tumor was positive to estrogen. And then I decided with my gynecologist and oncologist to remove my ovaries. So after that, I continued 5 more years with another estrogen blocker, but it's recommended for people who either do not have ovaries or are after menopause. So I was 42 at the time. And so after I removed that, then they changed me. So in terms of treatment, that's what I received. And I was without disease for 13 years without a scare or anything. And then February 2017, I was diagnosed again with a local recurrence, and it was called metastatic breast cancer to the skin. And I thought it was, maybe the dog that scratched me or whatever. But when it didn't go away, they did the biopsy. And even the dermatologist said, this doesn't look like cancer, but let's do it because your doctors are recommending it. So it came out to be cancer again. So it was a bit devastating to have to fight it again. But thank God it had not gone to any of the main uh, organs. So it was, this time I did have to have a total mastectomy, and I did have reconstruction the same day. And I started back in an estrogen blocker, and I've been there for 3 years and a half. But other than that, healthy and blessed that I'm telling my story again and been a survivor for almost 17 years now in December.
So you said you were metastatic, but
Metastatic,
yet,
they call it metastatic breast cancer to the skin because it was something that was left in the breast. My doctors were kind of in shock because it was after 13 years and nothing came up in all that time, was the routine follow-up. But the diagnosis from the physician and of the biopsy was metastatic breast cancer to the skin because it seems like it was from the first cancer, it invaded the skin. So that's why they call it metastatic breast cancer to the skin.
okay.
And at the
But
beginning, they call it metastatic also because I had a positive node, and that's why I had to had a more aggressive treatment, not only surgery but chemotherapy for the systemic part of the disease.
okay. All right. So, and just for clarity, because I've never heard metastatic and then cancer free.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and that's why I really, because we have a lot of people, and people die from metastatic disease, especially when it affects main organs. People have metastatic disease to the bone or the brain or the liver, and those are very deadly metastatic disease. They call them metastatic because what they call metastatic is when it goes beyond the local area. So the first time it was metastatic because it was in a lymph node, but it wasn't a metastatic as we know it in terms of killing people, of people who die. 40,000 people die every year because of metastatic affecting main organs. This was to the skin, and that was the diagnosis. But I was fortunate that it wasn't in other organs. And they did, after it recurred, they did again the PET scan and all those things to see if it had moved to other organs. And thank God it hadn't. So
Awesome. Awesome. So tell me a little bit about the work that you do. Did you start doing what you're doing because of your cancer diagnosis, or were you already involved in all this work?
well, I think I was always active in other, like a volunteer in my kids' school and whoever needed. But after I was diagnosed, I realized that I was blessed with health and I had to give back. So I started when patients were diagnosed, they were calling me, and I was just giving them comfort. And for patients, it's really good to hear somebody who has gone through the journeys. As when you're first diagnosed, you're so scared about the treatment and all the things, and you think you're not going to be able to manage it. So in order to listen to someone who has gone through it, is give you a little ease of, peace of mind. So I started doing that, and then in Puerto Rico we have a local Susan G. Komen affiliate. So I'm an educator. I'm a dean back home at the University of Puerto Rico, but I've been a professor for 33 years. So I said, I like education and I like to teach and share. So I started as a volunteer in Komen, Puerto Rico, and I chaired the education committee. Then I was part of the board. I was president of the board. So for 10 years, I was serving in Komen. But then I started discovering what an advocate in science was and helping the science of it. So it was usually after the diagnosis, and I realized, and my say is that I have to give back to people what I have in health. So I have a commitment with God and myself in terms that I've been blessed enough. And my kids were 10 and 14 at the time, and now they're 28 and 31, and they are both mechanical engineers. So I've been blessed to raise them, because as a mother, that's what scares you the most. Are you gonna get to see your kids? And you always, and I imagine my mom died 2 years ago, and I was whatever 57, and I still suffer her to this day. So I know when you're young, that is devastating, and when we lose these young mothers, and for those kids, it has to be terrible. So for me, I have been blessed, and they are, they have their own a career, and I know they can be independent kids now, and they live in Orlando, both of them. But for me, that's a blessing, and it's a relief that you see your kids grow up, and that's a blessing. So I do as much as I can, and in advocacy, I'm trying to concentrate also in minorities and Hispanics. I have attending all these breast cancer meetings, I have realized the limited number of Hispanics that participate. When you attend these different meetings, you get to have a circle of, and a lot of them I have them on Facebook, and I do a lot. But if I went to count the number of Hispanic advocates, I don't think we are 10 of us there that are very active, and that's a shame, because it's a growing minority in the United States. It's going to be the biggest minority in a few years, and there has to be more people in the United States, Hispanics, that can do the work that the few of us do. So I'm very encouraged to follow that and have more Hispanics involved in it, and also to have more Hispanics and minorities sitting at the tables in committees. I'm an advocate for SWOG Cancer Network, and they started a community outreach now, and they're including a lot of diversity in it. But if we look at panels like FDA or NCI, and we look how many minorities advocates have been there, I don't think there's too much running. So I think we have to do a better job in that. And that's my focus right now, increasing Hispanics and minorities in all these decision-making committees that we can make a difference.
Surely it is important to have everyone at the table. And I thank you for taking that lead on that and, really pushing that agenda. And sometimes it's because we don't know that we could be a part of it. And
Exactly.
so even just talking to the community and letting them know, even for me, when I look around and I see the number of people that Celebrate Life Cancer Ministry has reached. And then I realize that not very many of them are actively involved in policy and procedures and research and even participating in clinical trials. So I think I'm with you. We have to stand and let people know, one, that it's available,
Exactly.
and two, that what they know is enough to participate in the different projects like this.
And I think people underestimate the power that they can have. And I think we have to hear more stories about it and encourage people to do it. Maybe they think, well, it's a waste of time. Nobody's going to listen. But you're going to see they listen and they account for you. And since you participate in all these committees, they even think in Spanish, if you may, let's see if we have this in Spanish. Let's make it available for people who only speak Spanish or whatever. So just sitting at the table makes a difference. And I think what we have to encourage people is not to underestimate and understand the power that one person can do.
And sometimes they might look at me, people like me and you, and say, oh, they're too busy. I don't want to be that busy. But you don't have to be involved in everything. You could just find that one little thing that they may just meet twice a year.
Exactly.
And then the researchers or the policymakers, they go back and they develop based on the information that they learn from us in these meetings. And it's not just breast cancer, that's cancers across the board. So you're absolutely right. Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
So, Barbara, tell me, what would you say to someone who is newly diagnosed?
So first off, and I would say have faith because everything, happens for a reason, and it's not that we are glad that we get cancer. It's not like, oh, I got cancer, let's celebrate. It's not a joy, but it's a journey, and I think we have to first have faith, find a great team of doctors because sometimes and that team of doctors is going to be the team that you feel comfortable. My physician may not be the best physician for another person, but was the one that I felt comfortable, that I felt I could sit down and ask the questions and will have the patience to answer every question I had. And I visited another doctor who everybody adored, and we didn't have that chemistry. So I think first we have to find that team, and we have to ask all the questions, and we do not have to have take the things for granted. And there's a lot of us out there that can help you. So it's reaching out to your community, and someone knows. I always say, I know somebody that knows somebody. And those people can really help you navigate, ask the questions, what should I know? Because you get overwhelmed with the news about having a cancer diagnosis and you don't know, all the questions to ask or what should, and then you get home and, oh, I forgot this. So there's a lot of resources in different organizations that have like list of questions that you can ask your doctor. It's important to talk to someone else who has gone through it, and everybody has a different journey, so it's important to talk to someone, but doesn't mean that whatever that person went through is what you're going to be through. We all are individuals, and our disease are, even though it's called cancer or breast cancer, is different in each of us because of our conditions or the stage of it or whatever. But it's important to learn that people are surviving. Cancer does not has to be a death sentence. And even when we were talking about in the beginning about metastatic patients, thanks to science, and we need more of it, people are living longer with a metastatic disease when it before it didn't happen. And sadly still people are dying, but it doesn't mean that because we have the diagnosis we're going to die. And we just want to hang in there for the science to keep developing. And if we have to face it again, like I had to do after 13 years, I had the faith and the knowledge that there's new things out there that will keep me around for longer. And I want to be a grandma, so and my kids are not even married, so I know I have to be a long time around. So for that, so just have faith, talk to people, and ask the right question and have the great team.
Very good. Thank you so very much, Barbara. This has been great sharing with you. And I know that we're actually going to come back together on the first Saturday in November. And I believe that's November 7th. We will come back together for the Celebrate Life Cancer Ministry support group meeting. And we're going to have a panel discussion with individuals from across the nation who have experienced breast cancer. And we're going to talk about the importance of having one another, building relationships and having friendships across the lines of breast cancer. So I thank you once again for sharing with us.
Thank you, and wishing health to everyone during these crazy times, and hopefully we'll get out of this soon.
And I am Pastor Rhonda, founder of Celebrate Life Cancer Ministry. If you are interested in more information, you can find us on our website at celebratelifecm.org. Or if you're a cancer survivor or caregiver that just needs support or someone to talk to, feel free to give us a call at 424-258-5433. Again, that number is 424-258-5433. And Barbara, thank you so, so much. And I'm going to thank Jessimi for connecting us together.
Thank you.